Hi, I'm Brownfield anchor reporter Brent Barnett, and today I'm joined by U.S. Senator Joni Ernst, a Republican from Iowa. Welcome, Senator. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm great. It's great to be with you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. And Senator, we've talked with you about the 2023 Farm Bill off and on throughout the year. Now that the U.S. House has a speaker in place, can you discuss, well, one, your reaction to that development and also the next steps moving forward on getting a farm bill done?
Right. We are very excited that the House finally does have a speaker, Speaker Mike Johnson of Louisiana. And it's just great to know that they have the leadership now in place to start moving a number of bills. Primarily right now, our appropriations bills, but there's a number of other must-dos that we need to pull together between the House and the Senate. And one of those, Brent, is the Farm Bill. Unfortunately, we've seen that stall out, and I don't know that having a new speaker is actually going to make us move on that. So what we could potentially be looking at is a one-year extension of the Farm Bill, which I don't think is a great way to go. We'd rather have a finalized, updated Farm Bill. But again, it is stalled out. The Senate Democrats, of course, want to spend more. They are engaging in discussions on the food programs, and that's where we've seen the most significant amount of increase in dollars that we spend. Only about 14% or so of the Farm Bill is actually farm programs. So we need more farm in the Farm Bill. And this is what we're arguing about right now. So anyway, again, likely outcome is that we end up in a one-year extension if the Democrats don't come back to the table and work with us.
What have you been hearing from producers throughout this process? What are their concerns and their needs?
Well, they are very frustrated as well. And so that's why I hope that we're able to finish up this bill and actually get it into place. We know a number of the safety net programs are based on numbers from 2012. So we need to update that. It's pretty significant. Inputs have gone up significantly. I'm hearing, of course, about crop insurance, but we don't see that being in jeopardy at all. It is primarily those food programs that we need to focus on. And if we can do that, we can come back together again. But overall, a lot of farmers are just excited if we can get it over the finish line.
Speaking of inputs, Senator, you recently joined a letter to the U.S. Department of Commerce calling on the agency to reconsider a countervailing duty case placed against Moroccan phosphate fertilizer. So, bring us up to speed here. What's the issue and how big of a concern is this for growers?
Right. Yeah. Well, we know that in the United States, based on this current year, the United States uses about it's a lot, 7.4 million metric tons of fertilizer, the phosphate fertilizer. And we can't supply all of that domestically. So we do have to import. And there is a large phosphate fertilizer base in Morocco. And so we import a lot of that, but that's driving those duties are driving the cost up for our farmers. And so I've joined Senators Moran of Kansas and our own senior senator, Chuck Grassley, right here in Iowa, sent a letter to the Department of Commerce and asking them to take a look at the subsidy rate calculation that is being used by the Department of Commerce. It falls significantly short and again, impacting our farmers and not in a good way.
At this time, have you received or are you expecting any sort of response from the Department of Commerce?
No, we haven't received a response yet, but we do hope to hear back from them. I'll continue to push the Department of Commerce on this issue, as well as try and work with the U.S. trade rep too.
As we head into 2024, can you discuss the need to bring some relief to producers when we talk about those elevated production costs?
Yeah, relief is absolutely necessary. And inflation and Bidenomics, all of this has driven up the cost of doing business for our farmers and ranchers. they're bearing the burden of increased regulations. We all know and understand that as we work through items like waters of the U.S. and other regulations that the federal government feels is, smart, but our farmers know better. So we really have to focus on things like the Farm Bill, which would make sure that we have our farm safety programs securely in place and updated. That would be much needed relief for our farmers and ranchers. But then we also have to work on just across the board, making sure that regulation is coming down and that our farmers and ranchers, most of them considered small businesses, have a competitive landscape. So we just have to keep working on it. But unfortunately, if we're not having those discussions at the table, it's just not going to happen. So again, I would encourage all of our Democratic friends to come on back. Let's discuss the Farm Bill more. Let's figure out how to focus the Farm Bill on farm needs. That to me is truly important, and we need to get it done rather than do the one-year extension.
Senator, we continue to hear calls from agricultural and biofuels groups for a permanent solution for year-round E15. What's the latest update on these efforts in Congress?
Yeah, well, we keep seeing the Biden administration leaning towards electric vehicles. They continue to push that. It's very, very unrealistic to think that we would transition our entire country within a matter of years to all electric. We know that liquid fuel is around to stay, and we would love to see E15 be part of that solution. So we're going to continue to push the Biden administration on that and his Environmental Protection Agency. It's important that they know and understand that it's liquid fuels are here to stay. And so let's move ahead smartly, make sure we're supporting E15. I've got a bipartisan bill. It's the Consumer and Fuel Retailer Choice Act. And that would provide permanent nationwide solution for fuel blends that contain 10% or more of ethanol. And allowing for the year-round sale of E15. So there's a number of solutions that we have, but again, we just really need some Democrats to help us out on this front. And let's all come together, whether you're petroleum or whether you're ethanol or biodiesel, let's all come together and make this happen, because otherwise the Biden administration is just going to run right over us in their electric vehicle.
Yeah, we've had back-to-back years now where an emergency waiver was put in place to allow sales during the summer. Are we headed down that path again, or do you think that something can progress here and get done?
Well, I would love to see something progress and get it done once and for all. I think it's absolutely necessary, but we don't have those guarantees. So we'll continue looking at the waiver program, which really doesn't provide any stability for our farmers and our ethanol producers. So we'll keep pushing it. That's what we can promise. But, it's hard to know what that outcome is going to be at this time.
Senator, thank you for the time today. How can listeners stay connected with your office?
ernst.senate.gov. They can go to my website at ernst.senate.gov. They can sign up to receive newsletters. They can communicate directly to the office through that website as well. You can see our latest press releases and news announcements. They can simply just follow along with us. So anytime you're curious, again, just reach out, go to ernst.senate.gov.
Well, we hope to have you back on Brownfield here sometime soon. Thanks again, Senator, and have a great day.
Thank you.
That's U.S. Senator Joni Ernst of Iowa, right here on Brownfield Ag News. I'm Brent Barnett.